Adobe Illustrator CS6 comes with several amazing improvements to the application, and one of those improvements comes in the modernization of the application. Some of the changes in this category of modernization are behind the scenes, while others will be immediately noticeable to you. You see, Illustrator CS6 is actually the 16th version of Illustrator, which is amazing. But because of its age, it got a bit of a facelift with the current version. For example, behind the scenes, Illustrator is moving towards a 64-bit architecture, which means it should run faster and be more responsive as an application, and gain the ability to utilize more RAM on your computer. So for example, if I click on this object and run an intensive process, such as Gaussian blur, I can go to the Effect menu, come down to Blur, and choose Gaussian blur. If I turn the preview on, you'll notice that the rendering occurs immediately and should take a lot less time than it did in previous versions. When I make adjustments, the rendering happens again, and again it happens quite quickly. So I'm going to go ahead and cancel for here. The other area that you'll immediately notice is that the panels and overall interface have a darker appearance than they did in previous versions. Fortunately, whether you like this new appearance or not, it can be customized. So to do so, if you're on a Mac, come up here to the Illustrator menu, and if you're on Windows, you would come over here to the Edit menu. And once you're in those respective menus, simply go to Preferences and choose User Interface. In the User Interface Preferences, you'll notice right away that there's a Brightness drop-down menu. And if you click on that, you'll notice a couple of predefined presets that you can choose to change the overall look of the user interface. Now, if you don't like any of these predefined presets, you can simply drag the slider to totally customize the overall brightness or darkness of the user interface. You can also type in a percentage over here in the field to the right. In addition, they've now given you the ability to change the canvas color to either match the user interface brightness as you see here, or simply change it to white. And that will change this outside area that is on the outside portion of your artboard. I'm going to go ahead and cancel this to go back to the defaults. And you'll also notice that most dialog boxes that you use in Illustrator now have the OK and Cancel buttons located at a common location and are almost fully navigable using the keyboard. Let me show you what I mean. If I go to the File menu and choose New to open the New Document dialog, I can use the Tab key on my keyboard not only to toggle between the different fields, but even between the drop-down menus. So you'll notice that when I have this drop-down menu active, I can use the up and down arrow keys on my keyboard to toggle between the options available within that drop-down menu. I can continue pressing Tab, and that's just going to continue going into each and every field available within the dialog. Again, the OK and Cancel buttons are located in the lower right, where they were located in the upper right in previous versions. So you'll notice that now these buttons are in a common location. I'm going to go ahead and hit Cancel. And in addition, you'll also notice that the icons in all the panels have been cleaned up and reorganized. So for example, we have a cleaner look in all of these icons in the Tools panel. You'll also notice that in the Control panel up here at the top of your screen, the icons have been reorganized into common locations to make them easier to find. You'll also notice that some icons, for example the Appearance panel here, has a slightly different look and has a cleaner look than in previous versions. In addition, some panels, such as the Layers panel, has gotten a facelift as well. And you can easily make edits to objects and to the names of objects without having to open a dialog. So for example, here I have a layer called Working. If I wanted to change the name of this layer in previous versions, I would need to double-click to open a dialog to make that change. But in CS6, if I just double-click on the text, I can name this layer accordingly. So I'm just going to rename this layer to Notes, press Return to commit that change. If I do want the dialog for the layer options, I simply double-click over here away from the text, and that'll open up my Layer Options dialog. I'm going to go ahead and hit Cancel. So when you crack open Illustrator CS6 for the first time and notice a visual difference, know that this was done to make your experience using the product better than ever. And if you're new to Illustrator altogether, you'll appreciate the clean look and fast behavior that the product provides.